Hey y'all, we have had such a great week here at Pemberley, Oklahoma. As you can tell, the weather has changed. The snow is gone, the bitter cold temperatures are gone, and we are left with it's a bit windy today, but it's warm enough to sit on the patio in your jammies and drink your morning tea. So it's just been glorious weather the past few days, the kind of weather that makes you want to get out in the garden and get something done. Um, and we have. Um, and we also know that winter is far from over. We can have snow all the way up until March. So we want to take advantage of these fake spring days to get some stuff done. Um, and last weekend, nephew Sam and his wife Jen came for a visit and they helped us with some projects. So on this week's episode, we're going to check in on himself and Sam's project down in the Blueberries, see the progress they have made there. Jen and I unboxed something really, really cool for the garden that I'm super excited about. And then we're going to check in on our gardening goals. What did we do to work toward those? And our three things we picked in February. Let's check in on the progress we've made on those. And then also, because whenever Jen is here, we get along so well and we have so much fun and we get silly. And there was all this great behind the scenes footage footage of our little unboxing stuff for the garden that I've decided to add bloopers to my videos. So we may do it every week, depending on what happens. But knowing me, there will probably be plenty. So yeah, if you like some silliness, hang around to the end of the video for that. Now, before we um, go get some real gardening clothes on, although we could walk down in our jammies, but we're going to get some real gardening clothes on today. I'm going to take you down and show you the progress on the blueberries. But before that, let me give you a little background on the blueberries. Now, growing blueberries was never something I had contemplated. Not that I like blueberries, I like them a lot, but I knew their soil pH had to be a certain level, or they just don't grow. We didn't have that sort of area in our old garden. We would have had to done a raised bed or grew them in pots or anything like that. So we just never attempted it. It's like, okay, fine. I bought blueberries at the farmer's market. And then we moved here. And there's a little mini blueberry farm. Just rows and rows and rows of blueberries. I'm not sure why the previous owner planted as many as he did. I mean, it's more than you would need for a small family, but there we go. And so we moved in October. I had no clue what to do with the blueberries. And I just so happened to be going to the State Master Gardener Conference, and there was a speaker about growing blueberries. And he was like, just let them go. Just let them go and see what you've got in the spring. So that's what we did. And that first spring, we started picking in mid-May, and we picked all the way through the last ceremonial pick where we got like a handful that we dropped in our blueberry kolsch, was July 4th. So tons and tons of blueberries. And then this following spring, the spring was was very rainy, and so the season was a little bit shorter. It started a little bit later and it ended a little bit earlier, but still tons of blueberries, more than we need. So if I saw you during that time period, I probably gave you a bag of blueberries. So we have plant wise, we have done nothing to them. You can tell that they used to be irrigated. You find little strips of irrigation out there. They are not currently. We have not watered them. I think they're just well established, and the area down there has weeping springs and the pond and whatnot. So it's got a high water table. And so I think they've just got their toes in the water and they are happy. Have not fertilized them. That is something I probably need to look into start doing this year. So I will include some notes on up. Can you hear the geese? I will include some notes on blueberry upkeep and fertilizing and that sort of thing in the description of this episode. I did find, I went back and looked, and I found a short video of what the blueberries look like that very first season, and so it is from my phone and Facebook, so it may not be as good as this video, but let's see what it looked like that first spring.
Row A, little short row. Row B, down to, there's a break, so it becomes row C. And then here, this is the longest row. Let me get it from this side, you can see it better. So this is row D. Duck under this tree. All the way down there is, there's a break, so there's double D because this is the biggest row. This is the scrub row. The E, we're skipping that. Row F, the view down to Gongoozler Point. Row G, some trees. And then you have to walk all the way, or ride the golf cart, but we're walking today. We're getting some exercise in. I think that's a fruit tree. So all the way over here, there's H. I is here on this side. J has native blackberries that are teeny tiny. So there you have it. We have blueberries. So many blueberries. Annie's Blueberry Farm.
So as you can tell, there was a lot of scrubby trees, a lot of privet and winged elms. And so himself, that has been his ongoing project. He works on it every so often, especially, as time allows. This time of year is great because he's not mowing yet, and also because of the snow, the ground was soft, so that's helpful. So he's went through and I've had some input too on which trees we were going to keep. Anything that's big and really a tree, we've tried to keep, but all the scrubby stuff, he's been ripping that out. So as I say, I'm gonna go put on some real clothes. Although first I'm gonna finish this cup of tea, and I'll take you for a walk down there and I'll show you what all he's got done and you can see the changes.
So here we are at the Blueberry Patch Farm. Annie's Blueberry Farm. So originally I had designated all the rows in alphabetical order, but since himself has taken some stuff out, we may have to rethink that. So it starts here. Now this aisle was not too bad. This had a bit of scrub. This one, and there was a tree branchy shrubby thing in there that hung over that you had to like duck underneath to get to down the row. The one he's done the most work to is right here. Originally, right about here, looking down, there were 2 rows of metal stakes and barbed wire. I think they had tried to grow something in here at one time, but it was all gone. So all of this section right here, he just cleaned all that out and left this one winged elm because it's a good size. And then he came on down here and he's cleaned all of this out. All of this was just scrubby nothing. And then there's one little patch right here. There's some other There's just some flowers in here. I think this was a Wildflower Wednesday last year. Anyhow, this spot, as you can see, ground's really dug up since they were digging all that out of there. Oh, you can also see leftover remnants of irrigation. We're constantly picking that up. Anyhow, we're thinking that maybe we might clean this a little bit more, till it up, and use it for maybe asparagus, because that's a crop that needs to be out somewhere where it can just be left alone. I wouldn't mind growing a few pumpkins for my fall decorations or whatnot. So we'll see how that goes. But anyhow, so this was kind of a natural break and the walkway down to the pond. And then you have another big row here. And yeah, so there was some fairly good sized trees in there. You can see that he's dug out. But the problem with that, the reason why for that is they were shading the blueberries. So, they need full sun. And so there's that row. There's another little row right there. And then another little row right here. So a lot of blueberries. And there's a couple more rows over the other way. I'll show you those in a minute. But for the most part, I mean, blueberries are, like I say, I never planned on having a blueberry farm. They're easy to pick. They're thornless. When they're ripe, they just roll off into your hand. So I've really enjoyed having them. And yeah, if you were thinking about growing some, I would say yes. I would, if you were wanting to grow blueberries, I would say the first thing you need to do is pick your site that's nice and sunny, and then get yourself a soil test from your county extension office. It's very inexpensive. Like used to be like $10. I don't know what it is now, but because as I say, they have to have a particular pH soil. So you don't want to spend a lot of money and have soil that's not good for your blueberries. So if you're going to do it, sunny site and a soil test would be your first two steps. So we have another little patch right there. And get your walk in out here. This tree is staying, but he plans to limb that up so it's easier to get under mowing and whatnot. And then one more batch of blueberries. I don't know why this batch is over here by themselves, but they are. And then over here, these are native blackberries. They're very small, very tiny, very thorny. Not my favorite. We do go ahead and pick them. They don't last very long. I I prefer to get the ones at the farmer's market. They're nice and big and pretty when it comes to blackberries. So there you have it. Annie's Blueberry Farm. It continues to be a work in progress. We'll keep you up to date.
I'm back from my trip out to the blueberries, and I am feeling really good about all the progress that was made out there this weekend. Himself cleaning up and cleaning out is going to make it easier to pick the blueberries. It's also going to make sure that they get plenty of sunlight so they remain happy and healthy. And then that one spot that he's cleaned out, that's giving us an opportunity for a larger crop that we don't necessarily want in the raised beds, something like asparagus that needs a long time to settle in, and you could just put it out there and leave it be. So that's an opportunity. So I'm feeling really good about my 2026 gardening goal of growing more food. We're definitely working toward that. And then up next is a video Jen and I made this weekend of something that I think is really going to help my kitchen garden, is really going to help me to have more produce. So let's take a look.
Quick little side quest to my cleaning out my gardening supply area. I have a big a hanging basket of pansies that goes out here right outside my kitchen window. And before I bring that back out, I gave this window a little clean. Just, not perfection, just a little cleaner to look out there. And also, I'm waiting for my helper for the unboxing that's going to happen out on the patio here in a few minutes. So it was a great way to a little something that I could do. Didn't take me much time. The biggest thing I had to do was go get the ladder out of the garage, and 20 minutes and I have a clean window to look out. And here's my hanging basket. It's a big hanging basket. It's red pansies and it's looking really nice. Look at all that fresh green growth. It's a bit of a pain to take it in the garage when it gets bitterly cold, but the flip side is when it's in bloom, it's a lovely thing to look at outside my kitchen window. And there's my basket of pansies. All I have left to do is go give them some water. They've been sitting in the garage for a few days, so they're a bit dry. And I'm really excited. They've got a bunch of new growth on them, so there's a future Flower Friday.
So today we are joined with guest director my Jen, who is helping us on the filming, and we want to talk about something really cool and very exciting for next year's veggie garden. I talked about last week in the video about I overplanted my tomatoes, so I'm planting less. But also at the end of toward the end of the season, they were just going wild. They were flopping around, and they were so top heavy. And this this kind of tomato cage, just doesn't cut it for me when we get to the end of the season and the vines are so heavy and whatnot. They start out okay, but then you have to stake them, and eventually the tomatoes are like falling all over. So we decided we were going to make an investment in something. So these are from the Texas tomato cage, and I saw these in a friend's garden, a little impromptu garden tour for a group of us. And I was like, David, what are those? And he's like, Texas tomato cages. You need some of those. And so, yeah. So here we go. We have cages and extensions, and we're going to pull them out of the box and see what they look like. And also, you may hear some noise in the background, some sawing and whatnot. Himself and Sam are working on their 3 projects that they want to get done, or at least one of them that they want to get done this before the big planting season. So we're going to unbox these and see what we got. So what is, oh, oh, yeah. They're zip tied together, so we can cut that out. That's what Amanda always says. We can cut that out. And then she'll say that, and then she does it. So there's 6 of them in total. They're zip tied together. So let's see. I probably should have gotten nippers rather than scissors, but hey. Also, the behind the scene footage of me and Jen getting these out of the box is hilarious. We may or may not show that to you. Look for the blooper roll. Season 1 blooper roll. Maybe that's something Season 1 bloopers. There we go. There we go. We may release it. Some zip ties. Zip ties. Oh, kind of loud. Okay. So, the cool thing about these, you can already notice, is they fold flat. So, rather than, here, let me walk over here and grab this that I've pushed out of the way.
rather than this disaster that you have, you know how it is in your storage area. You like try to stack these all neatly, and then some of the ends are bent so they don't go together, and it's just, and then you got to like have them there and make sure you don't poke out your eye on them. So the great thing about these is they fold flat. So at end of season, hang them on the wall out of the way. So let's see. So now I saw these in someone's garden already put together, and I have no clue. So it took me a minute to figure it out. But so apparently this is like the base. And then I have this is another one. And I think it pops open the same way because I got the biggest ones they have. So there we go. And then I'm guessing that they somehow or another. Oh, here we go. Now let me see where we're. I don't have that open all the way. Annie deals with putting things together. It's not quite IKEA furniture, so at least there's that. Oh yeah, that's easy. Okay, I see what we're doing here. I see. So what we ordered was the biggest ones they had, and then an extension because when you put them in the ground, you lose some of your height because this here is going to be buried in the ground. So that's the thought process. So yeah, my order that I wanted to get them ordered before they get really busy because they are a small company. So and there's a note on their website that they work as fast as they can, but they are a small business. So yeah, I wanted to get them ordered early. Oh my goodness, I'm tired. This was work getting these out of the box. Um, so yes, how does we do this? Okay, so that's the base. That's the top. Line them up. There we go. And I guess I'm gonna have to lay it down because it's taller than me. So, okay. Ah, got my glove in there. Okay. So there we go. And then just lay this down. And then we got the extension. So we got this extension that also folds. So go. And I guess you could actually do another extension and another extension because they this work. Let me get this where I can see it. So yeah, we're just can see you're just building them from the just adding on. So let's so you could get away without having the extension, but my tomatoes get pretty tall by the end of the season, so I think I will just
Ooh, don't want the balloon there. Oh my goodness, look how tall these are. Look how tall these are. Once I get them together, I'll back away from the camera so we can see how. These are huge. Oh my goodness. Here, let me back up and not knock off one of my cute little balloons. Look at that. So yeah, for reference, which yeah, I don't have them perfectly straight. We will involve himself in this when we go and put them in the garden because he's a tall person. He can be very helpful on this. But yeah, I am 5'4", so these are going to work. These are going to keep everything encased, and they're sturdy. I like them. So let's lay that down and stay. So yeah, we will be hanging those up in the garage for the time being until we need them. And then every year I see when we have a beautiful weekend like this, because it was freezing cold last weekend, and then this weekend is beautiful. Fortunately, none of the stores have tomatoes in stock yet, because there's always somebody who's buying a tomato way too soon, and I feel the need to like stand there and go, wait, don't do it, don't buy the tomatoes yet, it's not time. We won't be planting tomatoes until April 15th, but we, as part of our gather our tools, our stuff, we have our tomato cages. Yay! Alrighty, we're gonna figure out where we're gonna put them and gather all this up. And thank you for my lovely assistant Jen for helping me and being my director today. Remember when I said I wanted this channel to be inspiring but also realistic? Well, this is the reality of my potting bench right now. Yeah, it was a mess last week. It's still a mess this week. We have done some work out here. Anything that was in the garage because of the bitter cold weather has been moved out and watered. We tidied up the citrus that were in here a bit. We actually took some, made some room for some more in the house, especially ones that were looking really pretty. The things that we were overwintering over here, tidied them up a bit, reorganized them a little bit. So we have done something towards our February to-do list. And so rather than feeling guilty that I haven't gotten to this, in last week's comments, my friend Nora said that she was aiming for progress, not perfection. And I think that is a perfect final Friday thought, that aim for progress, not perfection. I have made some progress out here. It's not perfect yet, though. And the other thing is you have to be able to reevaluate this time of year, especially with the weather. So for instance, when this video goes up on Friday, it's supposed to be raining, and it's supposed to rain on Saturday as well. But today is beautiful. The wind has died. There's a little crispness in the air, but it's beautiful out. So I don't want to spend it in here. So I'm going to go out and start on my winter weeding, and we'll let you know how that goes in the next video. So yeah, final Friday thought: progress, not perfection. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to see the bloopers. Otherwise, happy Flower Friday, and I will see you next week. Okay. I think we're just gonna have to rip the box open. My assistant Jan. You got this. Thank you. I said, thank you, Assistant Jan.
Who's first?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's move this around.
Hey!
Oh.
I didn't get your flowers.
No, I was worried about the whiskey.
Oh! The whiskey's good.
The whiskey's good.